Right, well, I said I'd probably do a video on this Z900, so it's ready to go out. I thought I might round it up. It came into us, the owner had bought it and he'd been starting it in his shed just a little bit, revving it up, and it had just got to the point where it wouldn't start, and it had become grouchier and grouchier as he was trying to do it. So we took the plugs out. They were as black as sooty as coal. We put some in, we got it just started up to test it, and it was just throwing black smoke out the back at idle. With the unbelievable amount of petrol it was trying to burn. So we had a look into the carburetors, we stripped them off. What we found is these carbs have been on a bike that's had a 4-into-1 or probably a pod filter system over the years. They've been beautifully restored, but inside the intakes here were some corrector jets which should have been taken out to run the standard system, and they were also in the wrong holes. They should have been in the main jet air intake and they were in the pilot air intake. Other few bits and pieces, the float height was wrong. They were leaking terribly from up inside the joints here. The float bowls were all slightly bent, pulled up where these bolts go into the corners. The float bowls tend to pull up slightly, and it means that they don't get any pressure on the gasket in the middle. So we had leaking from the joints, we had leaking from the middle. We sorted that out, took quite a bit of doing on and off. We tried to time it up. We found the points, the original ignition timing points under here were they were copy. They weren't original Kawasaki ones. They were copy pattern parts, and they weren't very good quality. So we couldn't set the gap. We set the gap as best we could, timed it up as best we could. We put a strobe gun onto these leads to try and get a spark to time it up with a strobe light. We couldn't even get the strobe light to register the spark. It was so weak. We could if we fiddled and messed. So we thought, we've got a really weak spark. We traced that back to copy coils that were on it. They weren't good quality coils. So we thought, right, we've got bad points, we've got bad coils, let's just replace the whole lot. So we've put a Boyer Branson ignition system on, which comes with a control box for the ignition, digital timing, and 2 brand new coils. The other thing we then found was the battery would go flat if we left it 2 or 3 days. Charge it up 100%, leave it a couple of days, flat. We got a new battery onto it, thinking it could be the battery. It wasn't in great shape. It would even go flat if you left it on the bench. So we put a new battery on. As soon as we put a new battery on, this casing down here started to get warm to your hand. And when you connected the battery, there was a little bit of a spark of a flash. You could tell it was discharging, and it was the voltage regulator underneath here. The voltage regulator takes power from the generator here, and it's got some little, basically one-way valves in it, electrical valves, diodes, that allow the power to go into the battery, but they're one way, so the battery power can't then go back down the other way and turn this into an electrical heater instead of a generator, and the diodes had failed. So when the engine was running, it was charging the battery. When the hung was switched off, the battery power was going back down, and it was turning this into a little heater, warming this casing up. It had damaged the generator windings in here because they'd got hot. So the generator had to be replaced, regulator had to be replaced, battery had to be replaced. We also had quite a terrible leak from the day it came in, just from here. Whenever it was parked on its side stand, we'd have oil dripping out of here, and there's a little rubber grommet inside here. We had to replace that. We've done all of that. Huge amount of work. Finding one problem after another, trying to chase them down and sort them out. The rev counter doesn't respond properly, unfortunately. The owner knows about that. He may get it sent away to be rebuilt at some point. But it now runs really nicely on all 4 cylinders, starts well, ticks over well. I've ridden it, done 28 miles now, and it's been riding really nicely on the road. It's a beautiful standard bike. It's obviously been restored a little bit. It's in great condition, and it now runs as well as it looks, which is what it really needed. So, owner's coming for it today. He's going to maybe test ride it, I'm not sure, but either way, it's going home and it's ready to actually run properly now.